Welcome, everyone, to Mind Games with Guerin Emig, weekly podcast that asks listeners to think as well as enjoy sports, think about them, learn from them if we can. Today, it's about learning from and about the Hutchens Brothers, Sam and Ben Hutchens, covering the Oklahoma State Cowboys for selloutcrowd.com, a revolutionary Oklahoma sports venture. I don't use that term lightly. We really do think this is a game changer. We want you to get to the site, check out everyone's content. We've loaded you down a lot of good college football related to the Cowboys and the Sooners right out of the gate. Today on this show, we're going to focus on the Cowboys, and in particular on Ben and Sam, who I want listeners and viewers to get to know as I am. I've known you guys for a while, not quite as long as I've known some of my other colleagues on this sellout venture, and so I thought we would use our time together to have a little fun and also enlighten the crowd. Thanks very much, guys, first of all, for coming on. Good to see you.
I'll just say I'm kind of concerned to be on here, Sam. I mean, I don't know about you. Guerin asked the best questions, out of anybody. So what's he going to get out of us? Like, I don't know. We're all going to be in for something here. Thanks for the kind introduction, Guerin. You were always nice to us when we were student journalists. So now that we're coworkers and a part of a great team together, we are very excited about it.
I promise not to grill you like I occasionally grill the football coach over in Stillwater, who, by the way, and you know what, we ought to start with Mike Gundy, because Mike gets a kick out of you. You've noticed that, right? He really enjoys, I think, the back and forth between you guys. He likes to have fun with the, shall we say, the younger crowd in the OSU beat. Seems to enjoy exploring those angles with you too. Do you enjoy him as much as he enjoys you? Right out of the gate, let's get that taken care of.
People ask that a lot. What's it like to cover Gundy and all that? And Ben, I always just resort back to the word fun. It's a lot of fun. We'll go eat our McAllister sandwich every Monday and, settle in for the Gundy press conference. And you have no idea what he's going to say. And he'll for the most part be pretty straight with your questions and tell some stories that make it a lot of fun. A lot of times he tells history stories and things that I don't really know about. So it's a lot of fun as a younger guy for him to, I'll give you an example. One time Barry Sanders did this, and his press conferences can lead a lot of different directions. But yeah, I think it is a lot of fun to cover him. What do you think? What's it going to take for us? Maybe, Sam, we got to work on a beard or something to not get hit with the, you're too young. But it's like some of this stuff. I mean, Mike, you're talking about 2011. I was kind of getting into college football then. Maybe I got to work on a beard to stop that question. But it is a lot of fun. And I'll just say, when I watch like a Brent Venables conference or something where you're there for 30 minutes and a million words are said, but nothing behind them. It makes me thankful to be covering a coach where you always got to have your phone out recording, because you never know what's going to happen.
I think here's the best thing you guys do in terms of the beat. You take the edge off, because when it's mid-November and everyone's kind of sick of each other, the press corps and the head coach, they've been covering for 3 months now, and it's not every day, not anymore. It used to be every day, fellas. There was a time, believe me. Now it's every week, and if things, especially if things don't go right, like they didn't for the Cowboys down the stretch last year, you're looking for excuses to sort of wade into the difficult questions, right? To tiptoe around some of the more controversial topics. And I think just having twin brothers on the beat is just inherently disarming of someone like Mike.
Isn't it crazy, Guerin? The last 2 years, the press has gotten to see two different sides of Mike Gundy. He's actually, I did a little research today. He's on his biggest margin of wins across 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. He was coming off a 12-win season last year, and to get it was 7-6. The Cowboys finished a season ago, so that's a 5-win spread. There's never been that much disparity between 2 seasons under Mike Gundy's tenure. So he's in a big year, and I guess I imagine water will find its level, and maybe the Cowboys finish somewhere in between there. But curious to see what you guys think of that.
I don't know what to. I just did a show earlier today with our friend Eli Letterman, who covers the Sooners for us, and I said that the most accurate thing that came out of Mike's mouth all August has been what he said in response to a question about the Big 12 preseason poll and OSU's place in that poll, and he shot back, "Nobody knows anything about this league," and he's right. I mean, he wasn't deflecting away from where the Cowboys were picked. He was being point blank honest. You'd be nuts to say that you know anything about what's going to happen over the next 3 months, especially when it comes to the Big 12. I think, and that positions OSU maybe better than you might think with all of the questions about this team, just because they've got as much of a shot as just about anyone else, I would say. What do you think,
On
guys?
our podcast, Ben and I both picked Oklahoma State to, I mean, at least to beat what Vegas thinks they'll do. Vegas has them at 6.5 wins, and Ben and I both think they'll be over that. But
Okay.
you're right, Guerin. No one knows. Let's take the quarterback room. No one knows if Alan Bowman is going to be the guy who is the only active quarterback to have a 600-yard game. He did that, but Alan Bowman was also kind of in the fourth stringer range at Michigan. Granted, that was a loaded room, but Bowman's only thrown 11 passes in the last 2 years. If Bowman is the guy, who knows what he'll be? So I think Oklahoma State, especially, it's there's a wide range of outcomes here.
We
Yeah,
do think. No, go ahead, Ben. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
I was just going to echo what Sam said. I think even in these last 5 years, we've seen more parity in the Big 12. And even with, what Sam talked about, OSU going from 12 wins to 7 wins, like it's even happening here in Stillwater. So there's certainly, people could think, somebody thinks OSU is going to be the best team in the league. OSU had one vote to win the conference. So I don't think anybody really knows, though.
You guys do think Bowman's a starter, right?
I do. That's the general feel, I think.
Yeah.
People in NFL training camp, they like to talk about just like the general feel around players, and I think since the winter when Bowman was brought in, it kind of felt like he was supposed to be starter. But I have heard and I do know Guerin that Garrett Rangel is not making this an easy decision. He's not a pushover in that role. I think Bowman's going to get the start, but I definitely think we'll see Rangel on Saturday.
It kind of harkens back to 2019 a little bit when the Cowboys were playing at Oregon State, and it was supposed to be a quarterback battle there. But Spencer Sanders came out and played so well in that first quarter, they couldn't take him out. Ben and I aren't expecting that situation against Central Arkansas when the Cowboys play on Saturday. We're expecting both guys to get a shot there.
Gosh, that game in Oregon State feels like 20 years ago.
Doesn't it?
Anything before the pandemic feels like 20 years ago, but that's when that was like Sanders' debut, wasn't it? Oregon, that was his first game.
That's right.
First of like 78 games as OSU starting quarterback.
And the unspoken, I bring that example up, but the unspoken thing about that is, well, Oklahoma State's defense was so bad in that game. Oregon State was keeping it close. So Gundy probably couldn't fool around. Maybe he couldn't take Sanders out just because. We can't afford some bad quarterback play. So I don't think Central Arkansas will be as competitive. And I wouldn't be surprised if Gunnar Gundy gets some snaps too. So Mike said multiple. And when Barry asked him, hey, does that mean 2 or 3? We wouldn't get that. But I'm definitely expecting Bowman and Rangel to play pretty substantial amounts.
Who's under more pressure to succeed with regard to OSU's offense this year? Because it always feels like it always starts with a quarterback, but because we're not even 100% sure that it's Bowman's job, does all of the weight then fall on Kasey Dunn? Go ahead,
Guerin,
guys.
I thought about where we were at last season with the way last season ended at the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. And Kasey Dunn was kind of the guy firmly in the crosshairs. Everybody was thinking about Kasey Dunn and in that whole scenario. And then after an entire offseason, that just kind of just naturally fades away. And is that, warranted? Like, should we still be having Kasey Dunn in the forefront of our minds? Maybe so. And Guerin, I only think it's going to take a couple bad offensive performances, maybe a couple, running back draws on third down that the fans don't like. And those discussions are going to come right back to the front. Yeah. So I think if you had to pinpoint a guy right now, it would be Kasey Dunn.
Okay.
Offensive line too. I'll throw that down. They cut a lot of heat last year, so I don't know if you want to talk about that whole unit or what, but I think the offensive line caught a lot of heat, especially from the podium, from Mike Gundy, who's pretty honest as far as that goes. Of injuries, just it's a shuffle, and he people would ask, hey, the running backs are only averaging 2 yards a carry or whatever, and he'd say, well, there's nowhere for him to run. I'm kind of proud of him for that. So the offensive line is expected to be better this year. Oklahoma State's getting some guys back from injury. But I'd throw the offensive line out there too as a unit with Dunn as the two groups that could catch the most heat.
Well, I'll tell you what, next week, if we talk next week, it's probably worth spending a lot more time on the specific game, because it looks like when you go to a Power Five road game, like even against a program that's had its share of problems like Arizona State has, it gets your attention. I don't know if Central Arkansas is going to serve that purpose for us. It's more about what OSU does, I think, Saturday night in Stillwater than the final score or anything that UCA throws out there. So if you're cool with this, let's put the analysis of OSU football on hold and just spend the rest of our time together talking about you two, if it's
Sure.
cool. Whose idea was it to be a sports writer first, or is this like everything else and it was like same time, bolt of lightning type deal?
Sam, I'll say, I think I had the first byline at the Ocali.
That's true.
With our staff starting back in 2019, but I think Sam was the first twin to really maybe make that full time commitment to writing. We both came in, Guerin, wanting to be play by play broadcasters. That was always
I see.
our goal. That's why we were in sports media in college. We wanted to be radio play by play broadcasters, and we just got involved with the writing side and figured how much fun that was, and here we are.
Interesting.
What happened our senior or our freshman year was 2019, and then when 2020 the pandemic happens, a lot of things got shut down, and really where Ben and I saw as sophomores just kind of starting to develop, in the sports media program, was we feel like the majority of the press passes available, the majority of the opportunities, the way to get into press conferences is writing. So Ben and I picked it up, and I don't think we expected to like it as much as we did, but we
No.
got on with a good staff of writers where some of the guys we learned from are now covering the New Jersey Devils, or we have a couple other sports writer buddies that cover Oklahoma State or do big things elsewhere. So we got on board with a good crew and stuck with it, and looked at the end and thought, wow, we just kind of want to get another job doing this, So grateful to be a part of Sellout Crowd.
That's so cool. I love that. You were both
What was your first thing? Did you always grow up wanting to be a writer, Guerin? What did you want to be as a
It
kid?
had to be sports something.
Yeah,
I mean,
same here.
Everyone should do a job they love. I mean, if everything being right, everyone should do something they truly love. And I knew that whatever it was going to be had to do with sports, because that was sort of my passion. Writing was something I was good at. It wasn't really a passion until I was able to figure out a way to sort of meld the two.
Sure.
I'll put it that way. My dad has been in the past an English professor at OSU even, and so I sort of inherited that gene. The sports came from a combination of, again, family interest, and then my own either knack for it or interest in it. But again, message here is do something you love.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't make you rich, and journalism ain't exactly how to get rich. How often do you read each other's stuff and get into arguments over each other's stuff? Or is it pure brotherly love when it comes to the editing process in the Hutchens office?
I'll tease our new column, Wombmates. That's something we're starting with the Sellout Crowd. It's quite the name. And that's a place where we actually hash out some of our sports arguments that we've been having our entire lives, where we'll put a few topics in there, something that we disagree on, and we'll hash it out. So I think I don't know. I agree with most of the stuff Sam writes generally, but
I would shout out our mom on this. Ben and I, a big background in our lives where we were homeschooled along with our younger brother, David. And so the three of us, our mom always told us, you can't hang out with any of your friends. You can't have any friends until you learn to be friends with your siblings. So Ben and I are very close, and a lot of people say, surely you fight or disagree or wouldn't want to be roommates after 21 years and living together in college, but here we are when we want it. And we're close to the younger brother too, so we really learned from an early age, when you're homeschooled, just go play with your brothers and be friends with them, and it's translated well to the adult world, which is nice.
So you guys still live with each other?
That's right. We're planning on getting a place up in Stillwater, of course, to be closer to the beat we cover. So working on that right now, but we're planning on moving in together.
So you've always lived together, is what you're telling me, through college and now career professionally, all that stuff.
Yeah, it was a big kind of thing in our house, Guerin. It was a big day when we were moving from Texas, and the realtor said, "Hey, we need to split the guys up. So Ben and Sam, you have to have your own separate rooms." And the Lego room, our playroom, went went into a bedroom for a little bit. So that was a sad day. That was the first time we had separate rooms. Was when the Lego room got dissolved for a little bit. But yeah,
We
living
don't plan
together
on
is
giving
awesome.
those up. We'll have separate rooms. So we
Yeah.
enjoy that space a little bit now. But yeah, we're more than happy rooming together.
Do you have a Lego room now?
It's split up. We still have,
Yeah.
our claim to fame, Guerin's having the Lego Death Star. I don't know if you're in that world or not, but for 6% of the audience that grew up looking at the Lego catalogs, having the Lego Death Star and getting to build it with Ben and our younger brother, that was that made us celebrities running around. So
Oh, that's so
it's
cool.
awesome to look at. We still like Star Wars and Legos, and cannot wait to crack those open with my kids.
Okay, I gotta ask, and let's start with Ben. Ben, what's one thing that you need Sam to work on in terms of being a housemate? Let's get this
Oh,
out.
oh my gosh. Okay. Sam needs to be a little bit handier around the house, Guerin. I think when the garbage disposal is it's a little clogged or whatever, it's kind of always me getting down there and using my one Allen wrench to try and figure out how I can use this one tool and do a bunch of different things with it. So Sam, if you could take a little bit of the handy burden off of me, that'd be much appreciated.
Okay, Sam, fair's fair. What can Ben do to help? What can Ben do better or differently around the house?
I'm more of the dishes guy, and not to completely throw Ben under the rug because he certainly does take care of a lot of the chores, and he's great at all that. But even my mom will tell you, Sam's more of the dishes guy, and I guess I kind of enjoy popping in a podcast or just scrubbing away. And I feel like if it was a pie chart, I'd probably do 60 or 70% of the dishes. But I
Okay.
mean, heck, even having a roommate who helps at all is great. So
Good.
it's a communal
Yeah.
way Ben and I get everything done, but it works out pretty well.
Do you guys know any other pair of twins who cover a beat? Have you ever heard of anyone else doing this? Anywhere else?
I know there's a set of twins doing play-by-play in minor league baseball,
Okay.
and they have a really cool story. It's a family thing there, and I can't remember. I think they're with maybe Amarillo Sod Poodles. So like I see that story, and I think, wow, like that's what Sam and I originally sought out to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see another pair of twins doing that. I've never met them, but as far as covering a beat for a written publication, I haven't heard of any.
Yeah. I don't think it exists. I mean, you're making history, is what I'm telling you. We're all making history at Sellout Crowd, but you guys are truly making history, right?
I
With
haven't even
this?
thought of it like that, but I imagine so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to I'd be happy to share the title if we could meet other identical twins that do it. That'd be pretty cool. But I guess if we're the torchbearers in that's a cool spot to be too.
Garen, growing up, not even growing up, but in these last few years, as you go through high school and college, everyone always asks you as twins, "Oh, what's it going to be like when you guys split apart? What's it going to be like when you guys, go out and do your separate things?" And well, we did a little bit of that after college. We both had journalism jobs, but now with Sellout and working together and covering the same beat together, we're really finding out that you don't necessarily have to move apart. I mean,
Right.
why is that a formality? So
Yeah.
it's a blessing. While we have it, certainly something to be thankful for. It's
That's so
kind of
cool.
cool.
That's cool. All right, we'll finish where we started, back on OSU, but you sort of through your eyes. Favorite part of the beat? What's your favorite part of your job?
I think I think it's cool for me getting to see all these different stadiums and places and meet different people.
Hmm.
I remember my first trip writing for the Oklahoma State student paper, and it was going to Ames, and it was awesome just to see a place that I guess you don't even think of as a real spot. It's just a place on TV that you see, once a Saturday. And
Hmm.
just to get to go up and walk through the huge tailgate and smell all the smells and see what their press box is like, and
Smells
get
like
to
Bush
see,
Light in Ames, by the way.
yeah, and but just get to see what all their chants are like. So it's really cool to me to see Big 12 country a little bit, and as it expands, I've been excited to even get to tick off more places on my checklist. But
Yeah.
you're traveling with great people. You're all your coworkers. Everyone can talk about the ball game last night or how your fantasy team's doing, and so there's a great bond between sports writers that I appreciate, and to get to do something cool where I think you're right, Guerin. It really
Mhm.
doesn't feel like work, and that's not all the time. But just to wake up with so much excitement for the day is such a blessing.
Yeah. Ben?
Not doing the same thing every day. I've been
Yeah.
on I've been on the clock. I've worked a warehouse job, and being able to wake up in the morning and know exactly what you're going to be doing at 3:45 that afternoon is not something I wanted to be doing the rest of my life. So I love the parody, the differences, and just the uniqueness that comes with each day.
That's fantastic. Again, back to got to do what you love, right? Otherwise, what's the point of having a job to begin with? That's beautiful. You guys have your own show, right? This is true.
That's right. Two on OSU is the name we came up with.
Two on OSU. Okay. I thought that was where you were headed. So let's go ahead and promote that. You guys will be doing your own thing like everyone else with Sellout Crowd as we move through the season and we get this thing up and running. Good luck with that. I know you're going to kill it. You've already killed it with your work at the Ocala on the beat. You'll do it for us. It's really cool to have you guys aboard, and it's great to learn a little bit more about the people behind the bylines, shall we say. So thanks very much for coming on, fellas. Appreciate it.